For the first time in Sonic's well-documented history, he is hitting the open-world landscape. While this is new territory for the Sonic franchise, the traversal through the open world feels really freaking good. The grinding transitions, the speed boosts into loops, the Sonic dash to hit a string of coins, it all feels amazing. Everything about Sonic's movement feels crisp, fresh, but still familiar. I was so nervous that going open world was going to make Sonic feel uninspired or out of place, but it doesn't. They captured the essence of what it felt like to be Sonic wonderfully. To complement the high-speed movement is the vast open biomes that encourage tons of exploration through the terrain. I enjoyed the variety that the 5 biomes presented me, with each world having slightly different mechanics that made them feel unique. For example, the volcanic biome transitions many of its parkour sections into side-scrolling 2D movement. It's a seamless transition and felt like such a perfect way to capture the nostalgia of all Sonic fans and pay homage to his roots. Throughout these individual biomes, there is a lot to explore with minigame challenges scattered throughout. They aren't overly difficult, but they do enough to test your skill. There was enough variety within these minigames that I looked forward to playing them every time I encountered it. While the biomes and diversity are solid, it's the chaos runs that really stand out in Sonic Frontiers. They're essentially time trial runs with other side objectives to complete, which reward you with vault keys. The vault keys are very important with the progression of the game, so take time to complete all of the objectives within each chaos run. You can replay them as much as you want, and once you complete an objective, you don't have to complete it again, which was great for preventing redundancy. Another component of Sonic Frontiers that really stood out to me was the music score within the game. When exploring, you'd have these calm, trance-like scores that gave the world around you a sense of scale and whim. As combat approached, the music would build up, but it was the boss fights that would crescendo into an epic soundscape fit for the gods. Having these contrasts of calm and dynamic tracks made those big moments feel impactful and memorable. While there is amazing movement, diverse biomes, fun minigames, and memorable music scores, there is one major issue that leaves me at a crossroads with Sonic Frontiers. The amount of clipping in this game is brutal. I usually don't have an issue with background scenery or textures loading in because it doesn't really affect the overall game experience. However, in Sonic Frontiers, it's the rails, walls, springs, and other parkour objects that are clipping in. That is a huge problem. In a game that is focused on movement and very high speed, you lose that fluidity when the objects you're meant to traverse aren't there for you to see. One time I left an area because I thought it was barren, only to come back later and find that it hadn't loaded everything in and contained items I needed to progress in the story. I can't look past that. Well, I guess I could since it wasn't really loading in. But jokes aside, it became genuinely frustrating when you're encouraged to explore but can't see anything past 30 feet. I love how this game feels, but the amount of clipping gets in the way of that. The good news is that things like clipping can be fixed in patches, but will it? I have no idea. Another aspect of the game that is a bit of a pain point is the story and campaign structure. While the biomes, minigames, and movement feel diverse, it's what you're asked to do within these biomes that gets pretty redundant pretty quick. The general arc of the story is Sonic's friends are trapped in different biomes and it's up to him to rescue them from a cryptic little girl.
Leave.
That was a warning?
The story portion feels like it drags because of the slow buildup to what the villain is all about. It's painful at times. The slow story is brought further down by the fun but repetitive campaign missions within each biome. There's hardly any set-piece missions outside of the biome's own boss. The result is you going around in circles, exploring for resources, using those resources to talk to your trapped friend, finding vault keys to unlock Chaos Emeralds, talk to your trapped friend some more, collect more resources, get more Chaos Emeralds, talk to your friend again, then go fight the biome boss. With so much of the story revolving around exploring and repeating tasks, the clipping makes this loop feel even worse. The biggest positive I took away from the story is the relationship building and warm-hearted dialogue between all of the characters. The objectives for progressing the story are very basic, but the dialogue and character development is some of the best that Sonic has had in a very long time. The life lessons taught within this game about loyalty, friendship, and perseverance are great, especially if you want to play this game with your kids. I'm not saying it's a kiddie feeling game, but it's great to see some heartfelt moments throughout that really help tie everything together. In regards to combat, it falls somewhere between okay and fine. I know, that's vague, but combat really isn't that much of a factor in this game. You do fight enemies and will encounter some pretty big ones at that, but it's never the focus outside of these big set pieces. When exploring, most of the enemies are used more like stepping stones than battle encounters. I didn't really mind the basic combat controls and limited skill tree because the game doesn't want you to stop moving and put your knuckles up. See what I did there? Do I wish there were more unique combos and skills? Sure, but the combat felt like it served its overarching purpose as an extension of your high octane movement and not something that was meant to be focused on. This is why I'm so torn. Sonic's movement, exploration, traversal, and high-speed fun feels so dang good and addicting, but the clipping gets noticeably in the way of that. Even though the story is pretty basic with not many concrete missions, I still had fun and wanted to learn more about the characters and the villains. The combat isn't deep, but it serves its purpose. There's this constant tug-of-war battle going on with Sonic Frontiers. It's why I have to give a tug-of-war answer. If, and I mean if, they fix the clipping, then go buy this game immediately. If the game goes on sale for the holidays this season, buy it. But if it remains full price and the clipping doesn't get patched, then I'd say this game is for the die-hard Sonic fans only. It's a solid first step into a new horizon for Sonic games, but it certainly needs some post-release love to keep your frustrations from mounting too high. If the Sonic team can fix the clipping issue, it's a 7.8 out of 10. But as of right now, I'm giving it a 6.3 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching this review of Sonic Frontiers. What would you give Sonic Frontiers, and how do you feel about it being an open world? Let me know in the comments, and while you're there, tap that like and subscribe button. I appreciate the support, and let's keep climbing to 1,000 subs. This is Josh Robinson with Joystick Gamer. Thanks again, and stay gaming out there.